So this is that head for the 400. And a big part of the reason that all this needs to be fixed is, if you can see, that's a heel coil. So that, like I said, that's a problem. Another reason it's a problem on these, though, if you can see every one of these exhaust bolt holes, you probably see it best on this one. They're not blind holes. They go into coolant passages. So we need to fix these so these will be able to seal up. So we brought it over here, and I'm trying to size up these bolts. So here's a hole, right? This bolt goes in, no problem. It doesn't even thread in there, it just comes out. Doesn't fit. Obviously doesn't fit in that one. Goes through that one, no problem. Won't thread into that hole. So they're all over the place on this thing. So they brought us the next junkyard trans to put in there. And just by looking at this, there's still paint on this converter, and the fluid that's coming out of here is just bright, clean red. So this one actually seems to be in a lot better shape. I wouldn't be surprised if this was rebuilt somewhat recently before this truck was sent to the junkyard. Definitely a lot better shape than the other one. The other one's fluid came out looking like oil out of a diesel with some chunks in it.
No wonder the 2-4 band wasn't working.
Yeah, it was shot.
This one's been painted. There's paint in the bell housing.
Yeah. Alright, we got the trans up in there. We're just starting to get some bolts started in it.
The biggest thing that people need to remember if they do a transmission themselves, always make sure your torque converter is seated all the way back in there, because you can actually push the front pump out of one if you don't have the converter seated all the way back. So what you want to do is, as you tighten it up, you want to make sure that the converter will spin freely.
Yep. Should be 3 clicks when it's going in to make sure it's fully seated.
On a GM, yes. I don't know what they are in some of the other ones, but you just want to make
At least
sure
on these, I know they're 3 clicks in.
You want to make sure it's loose. Like on a Ford that's got studs, you just want to make sure it clicks back and forth inside the holes. This one's got bolts, so it's not got studs, but you want to make sure it spins freely as you get it all snugged up there. So we'll get all the bolts started and try getting it mated up there as tight as possible, and then play with it as we're going together with it. Make sure that we've got movement like we should.
So I got a 1/4-inch ratchet here. It's got a 3/8 kit in it. And this is about perfect when you're running your bell housing bolts up. I mean, you're going to want to tighten them with a bigger ratchet, but you don't need much just to get in there. You want to make sure that you're not crushing anything and that you're not pulling it in sideways or anything like that. So Chris is reaching up in there, getting the converter bolts up in it.
Yeah, I got to spin that converter around so it lines up right.
But we just got a couple bolts tightened up so that the trans is sitting flush against the block right now. Get the converter done, and then we're going to try to let the whole thing down as far as we can, give us a better angle on the top side. So, you never use one of these transmission extensions. It's a locking extension, 1/2 inch on that end, 3/8 on this end. These things are perfect for doing transmission bell housing bolts.
And the trick is you do your top ones last so you can drop it down so you can go up from the back to the top.
Yeah,
and then vice versa, you do those first. After you take your cross member out, you drop the tranny down, take those out first, and then you jack it back up so you can get the rest of them. There's no tension on the tranny.
Yep. So we got the transmission all bolted in there. Just got the transfer case lifted up in. Chris is starting to get that bolted down.